giving you the real from A to Z surrounding the Dallas Cowboys. News, updates, rumors, transactions, takes, and more. So strap up, Cowboys Nation, and start your day off with A to Z Sports. Live with Will Steele.
3, 2, 1.
Here we go. Good morning, good people. Welcome to A to Z Sports Live. We're streaming live on YouTube. And of course, I am your host, Will Skywalker Steele. Boom! Day one of NFL free agency is in the books, and as expected, a ton of movement around the league, and also, as expected, quiet on the Cowboys front. No reason to get all crazy. We know that, right? Although, they did show their hand. They showed their hand at a specific position. We'll talk about that in and out of the roundup. Also, 3 Dallas Cowboys are off to different teams, 2 of them in the division. And we will talk about those moves, plus some other moves around the league as well. Look, I'm not going to lie to y'all. Today is one of those days right here. We're going to go ahead and roll the TV card out. Cowboys don't partake in this particular week, and especially the first day, which it is what it is on the first day in regards to the big dollar ticket free agents. But they don't partake in the first day, period. So we know that. So there's not much to talk about on the Cowboys front. So look, we rolling the TV out today. What I'm going to do, we're going to get into the roundup. We do have some Cowboys news-ish to talk about. And then coming out of that, we'll look at a particular market I wanted to discuss. It happens to be important to the Cowboys if they decide to attack it. And then we're going to go around the league. We're just going to take a look at some of the moves, talk about them amongst ourselves, me and y'all in the chat. And if you want to call in, we can. Telling you right now, this is a TV card day. Shouldn't be particularly difficult or long or ridiculous because the Cowboys did not do anything yesterday. And that's just that. That's just what they're going to be. So I wouldn't expect them to do anything today. But what I will be is pleasantly surprised if they do. And that's pretty much where I'm at with this whole thing about free agency. You know, I lay it out to y'all straight. It'll give you the Catboy criteria. And then we let the chips fall where they may in the next 2 weeks because we know they ain't falling in the first 72 hours. That's just the way it goes, man. They out there on the yacht doing their thing. Where are my mans? What's up, Bomb Squad?
Bomb Squad!
My bad. My bad, man. I will tell you this. It was I got a chuckle out of Twitter melting down. And some of y'all in the chat as well. No offense to you. I love you, Bomb Squad. I do. But seeing y'all melt down as well, it gives me a little chuckle because, come on, y'all. Y'all, if y'all kicking it with me, y'all know we've been preparing you for this. You know? So what are we doing here? Now, if you go on the Twitter sphere, and if you're out on Facebook, and you're on Instagram, and you're on TikTok, that's fine. But here, come on now. Don't get your hopes up with this franchise in regards to signing significant free agents. That is not what they do. All right? So let's get into this roundup, and we're going to talk to y'all.
It's time! It's time! It's time! It's time!
It's time.
It is time for...
It's time for the morning roundup. Round 'em up, boys.
Let me talk to you.
Let me talk to you, Cowboys Nation. Like I said, free agency kicked off yesterday with the boom, with the bang, a lot of fireworks. Cowboys lit a firecracker that didn't work, and we'll talk about that. But 3 Cowboys, in my opinion, 3 I expected to move on, have moved on. And that is Tyler Biadasz, Dorrance Armstrong, and Tony Pollard. Let's start off with Tyler Biadasz, who went to Washington, signed a 3-year, $30 million deal, $17 million guaranteed. to go play for Dan Quinn. Dan Quinn is likely going to take more. I would not be shocked if these first two aren't the only two that go from the Cowboys to the Washington football people. Good for Tyler. Get your bag per se. $17 million guaranteed over 3 years. I don't know the other full details of it, but like most of these contracts, usually whatever the final year is, say it's 3 or 4 year deal, is usually a 1 or 2 year deal. That's how it goes. Dorrance Armstrong also moved on to Washington. 3 year, $33 million deal, $22 million guaranteed, but he can make upwards of $45 million. Now Washington has some bucks to spend. Dorrance is going to get his bag. He didn't get a huge bag in Dallas. I think he got a big enough bag to where Dallas, if they had to put that money together, they could have went out and got a better free agent. But hey, just me. But he got a better bag this go round. Still, 27 or something? He's not that old. $22 million guaranteed for Dorrance Armstrong. Shouts out to DA for getting his bread and Tyler Biadasz. Look, we've been moving on from center for a while here since the season ended, actually in the middle of the season. So to see Tyler go doesn't do anything for me. Same thing for Dorrance Armstrong. I've been trying to upgrade Oppo D-Law. That's not Micah for a while now. So it's not knock on DA. He's a quality rotational guy, but also does not move the needle for me. And neither does Tony Pollard going back home to Tennessee. 3-year deal, $24 million to go play for the newly looked Titans. Shouts out to A to Z Sports Nashville, our parent company. See, I'm a little jealous of them this week because they're going to go out there. They got a ton to talk about. Oh man, film and the players, probably get some interview. I mean, just a lot to talk about. Their signings and moves and whatnot. So shouts out to them. Plus they got a top 10 pick too. Should be a fun little offseason for them over there. But TP moves on, gets a 3-year, $24 million deal. The details haven't come out yet, but again, if it's 3 years, $24 million, that's probably like a 2-year deal, 12 guaranteed. You know how these things go. Dallas was hopeful to bring back Tony Pollard, but they wanted to bring him back cheap. Of course, that's what they do. They probably went to Tyler Biadasz. Hey, would you like to come back for $32? Shouts out to Vaj. Nope. Dorrance Armstrong, same thing. Nope. And TP, nope. They would much rather bring their own guys back cheap than go out and get better players for a little bit more money. That is just their MO. And you'll get a lot of people that say, it works, guy. 12-5, 3 years in a row. It absolutely works. We can go down this rabbit hole. Define your definition of works. Status quo to me. So they missed out on bringing back Tony Pollard, and that means that they should have been in the mix for a running back. Aha. Shouts out to Shawnee. Aha. They were. Cowboys were in the mix on Zach Moss. But Zach Moss was too costly.
Here comes the money.
Here we go. Money talk.
Here comes the money.
Y'all, Zach Moss didn't get like a $13 million deal. He didn't get a $15 million deal. He didn't get a $20 million deal. He didn't get a $10 million. He didn't get an $8 million deal. 7, 6, or 5. Got a $4.5 million deal.
Here comes the money.
Here we go. Money talk.
Here comes the money.
You gotta laugh sometimes, y'all. You just gotta laugh a little bit. Per Michael Gelkin, Cowboys were in the mix yesterday, for running back Zach Moss. A person familiar with the discussion said, ultimately, the price extended past their comfort point. Moss agreed with Bengals on a 2-year, $8 million contract that includes $4.5 million earnings this year, which I bet that's probably what he's going to get total. So, Zach Moss was too expensive, Cowboys Nation. No. You cannot pay. Doesn't shock me. We did the running back free agency primer, was it last week or whatever? And y'all remember, if you don't, it was very quick. But throughout that whole entire thing, I was building up saying, hey, man, we're not going to spend a whole lot of money at this position. Obviously, they'll look at that position, but I don't think they're going to spend a whole lot of money at that position. Now, we were talking about mostly the $8, $9, $10, $11 million type deals. But if you remember, I did say this. What about the price? Another cheap guy. Spotrac has him at 1 year, $3.5 million roughly. PFF has him at 2 years, $3.5 million roughly, $4 million guaranteed. Believe it or not, you know, that number for the Cowboys still feels a little high. But it's hard to get that much cheaper unless you go J.K. Dobbins. Shouldn't shock anyone. If you're rocking, it shouldn't shock you. And it's because I don't know. I think I responded to somebody that hit me up the other day. I think it was yesterday. Like, hey man, it's really easy to see their move. They put it out there and they don't change. It's not difficult to kind of predict what they're going to do because they've laid that out there for quite some time and they have not changed. Now, something that popped up yesterday in my head when I was on Vach's show, where we were talking about this running back situation, and it did not strike me until it just did at that point. Now, if it did prior, I would have been talking to you guys about this. But this is the first time the Cowboys find themselves in no man's land at running back since 2015. And one can argue, granted, we're not done. Free agency still, you know, they signed who they signed then. One can argue they were actually set up a little bit better then. What do you mean, Sky? So 2014, DeMarco Murray, who they drafted in 2011, 10, somewhere around there. So they DeMarco Murray goes on an MVP run, leads the league, breaks the all-time rushing record for the Cowboys in a single season. And now it's a battle between Philly and DeMarco Murray. He chooses Philly, gets the bag, does not work out there. Dallas says, okay, we're just going to roll with Joe Randall, right? But I know that sounds funny now, but Joseph Randall had been the backup there for a little bit. Joe Randall steps up. They signed DMC. Actually was not a bad situation. Just Joe Randall likes to steal draws, you know, and he stole draws. Yeah, he's a knucklehead. He don't listen and got rid of him. DMC rushes for 1,000 yards that season. He wasn't amazing, but he rushed for 1,000 yards. It is what it is. They also signed Christine Michael, and it was a cluster F until they figured out, all right, we're just going to roll with DMC. Then they drafted Zeke the next year. Zeke, 3 years later, Zeke and TP. So they were pretty much set from 2016 to 2023 at running back anyway. Now they're back in no man's land. And again, I'd argue worse than 2015 because they don't have a Joe Randall. Now they can go out and get a DMC, and they probably will. They probably will. But they will not. What they will not do is pay a lot of money at the position. Now, running back for me, y'all know how I feel about it as I'm trying to mess with my earpiece here. Running back for me is still more about the how. I'm all about that, but I also do understand you got to have somebody back there that you feel confident in, right? The Cowboys have nobody. They literally just have a satellite back in the backfield. So we got to do something at the position. So if you go look at the running back market, the way it played out yesterday, let's go take a look at it here. The top of the running back market played out about as expected, right? With Jacobs and Saquon Barkley getting the biggest bag of them all. And with the Packers, this was a very interesting deal. And this is why the devils are always in the details. And I always kind of wait till the funny money kind of plays itself out. You know, we got the breaking news, right? Breaking news, Josh Jacobs. Wow, Aaron Jones is still on the team. Josh Jacobs signs a 4-year, $48 million deal with the Packers. Whoa. Then you read the details. $12.5 million at guaranteed, are at signing and $12.5 million guaranteed. Essentially, all this is a 1-year deal. So if Josh Jacobs flames out, and he did not have a great year last year, if he flames out this year, they don't like it, they can move on from him and save money. But see, the agent gets to say 4 years, $48 million. Hey, y'all, come be my client. I got Josh Jacobs a $48 million deal in a depressed market. Now you got him a $12 million deal for 1 year. 14.8 when you look at all the other little things that goes into it. And then they can move on from him. But shouts out to the Packers. They replaced Aaron Jones for whatever reason with Josh Jacobs. I think Aaron Jones is a great player. Bit injured, gets injured a bit much, but we know what he does to Dallas. So immediately when that happened, everybody's like, hey, we got to go get Aaron Jones. Well, breaking news. Aaron Jones signs in the division with the Minnesota Vikings. Like, not even 24 hours later, he's going to Minnesota. So you can forget about that. Okay? Gone. Done. But I think this is a fantastic little deal here for the Packers because they're like, look, probably going to draft a back too. We'll take a shot at one of the top free agent backs, and if it doesn't work out, we're getting the hell up out of here. We're not about to sink our money into the running back position. And they will for a year, but not long term. And that's kind of how you got to look at this thing. Now, the Eagles went out and got Saquon Barkley. Again, congratulations, Saquon Barkley getting his back. He's going to get $26 million guaranteed. So they are a little bit more invested long-term-ish to Saquon Barkley. I'd imagine it's a 3-year deal, $37.7 million. But I'd imagine this is more of a 2-year. But here's the thing. Once again, Saquon Barkley got $26 million guaranteed at signing. Thus, $26 million total. They can get out of this deal early as well. Now, that's a lot of money. And Philly, what they're doing is they're saying, hey, man, you are our hope, at least for a year or two, but not for long term. And all Saquon wanted was to get his bag. He never got a chance to get his bag. He gets it with Philly. And we'll talk a little bit more about the other moves that the NFC East has made a little bit later on once we go through all the league's additions. So Saquon goes to Philly. Interesting because Kellen doesn't like to run the ball. You know, I will admit, there's no denying he's in a much better situation than he was in New York. New York has an atrocious offensive line and offense in general. Where Philly, he's going to go to Philly, which is a really good offensive line. You know, we'll see what Sirianni makes Kellen do in regards to running the ball. But I wonder if they're just going to look at Saquon as more of a weapon than running the ball because they got an RB1 in that franchise. Touches the ball every time. So, you know, Saquon is probably going to be a guy they throw the ball to out the backfield, hand the ball to 13, 14 times. Hope to hit a big play. But that's not my problem. That's Philly. And then you got TP and DeAndre Swift, who got the same deals here. 3 years, $24 million. TP goes to Denver or to Tennessee. We talked about that. DeAndre Swift goes to Chicago. Good pickup for them. He gets the AAV is $8 million guaranteed. It's a 3-year deal, but really a 2-year deal because the guarantees will be out after 2 years and they can move on and not suffer any penalties. So I think the running back market at the top, obviously it increased because the players were better than last year, but then I think it kind of settled back to what it was. Think about this for a second. If this was 10 years ago, $12 million annually for the running back position, for the top running backs on the market, would have been an absolute bargain back then because they were getting, you know, the 15, 16, 17, $18 million. Zeke got a $100 million contract at the running back position, which is crazy, but he got that, right? So that's not happening anymore. What these teams are doing is, okay, yeah, we like your Jacobs, we like your Barkley, but we're not sinking long-term into you. So we'll give you a year or two, and we'll see what happens from there. DeAndre Swift, 2 years. Tony Pollard, likely 2 years when the details come out. And then as you go down the line, Singletary, Gibson, Eckler, who also went to Washington. I mean, these are mostly 1-year type deals. Singletary got 3 years, $16.5 million. We'll see what the details come out there. Gibson, 3 years, 11 and 11.2. Eckler, 2 years, 8 point. Hey, look, I might have even jumped at that. 2 years, 8.3. I mean, it's really a 1 year, $4.8 million deal. That ain't shit. Then Zach Moss, 2 years, $8 million, and Gus Edwards, 2 years, $3.2 million. And remember, that video clip I showed you was about Gus Edwards. And PFF and Spotrac, shouts out to them. They've been kind of on the money here in regards to these contract values, projections. And they, Gus Edwards was between 3.2 and 4. And I'm like, I still think that's high for the Cowboys. They just have not shown the want to even pay that much. And then the information comes out. Zach Moss was in the mix, but Zach Moss was too much. And Zach Moss's too much was $4 million. So that's where we're at with running back. They've shown their hand. We'll see, where they go from here. There's still a bunch of other guys out there, including these two gentlemen. Derrick Henry and Joe Mixon, who are now the flavor of Henry's always been the flavor of the month. Joe's become a flavor of the month. Yesterday, after all these moves have been made, Joe Mixon got cut, and Derrick Henry's still on the market right now. It looks like, according to reports or rumors, whatever you want to call it, the Ravens are front runners, and the Ravens have offered him roughly $6.5 million annually to come play for them. I don't know where Dallas is at in this mix, but let's just, if 4.5 is too much for Zach Moss, will 6.5 be too much for Derrick? There's a lot of things you can go into that. You can say, well, Derrick's a better back, 100%. Derrick will sell jerseys, he'll sell tickets, he'll do those things. So they could be looking at that, and then you can go the other side. Well, Derrick also has 17,000 carries, and it's going to happen at some point where the breakdown comes. I wonder if teams are a little worried of that, so they don't want to pay him $12 million annually. I am curious though, where else Derrick Henry is wanted in the league, because what's that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And then you go 10 if you count Aaron Jones. And then, there's some players probably getting signed as we speak, by the way. So that's 10 teams that have signed a back. That's 10 teams. It's dwindling a little bit for Henry. But again, teams look at the age, they look at the mileage, and they probably like, look, we love to have you, but we love to have you on a Devin Singletary deal. Jacobs 26, Barkley 27, Pollard 26, 27, DeAndre Swift 25, Singletary 26, Eckler 28. Like, all these guys average out to like 25, 26, 27 years old. Henry's going to be 30, 31 with a ton of mileage. So I'd imagine teams are kind of just like, look, we know you King Henry, but we're going to have to take this 2-year, $12 million deal. And if that's the case, you'd think the Cowboys should be in on it, but probably not. We'll see if his market decreases. Let's look at the rest of the league real quick, though. Actually, let's just look at the NFC East, and then we'll take some calls and we'll come back to the rest of the league. Told y'all, easy day today. Ain't much going on. Unless breaking news, the Cowboys make signings. Ain't much going on. Let me set this up for y'all. Come on. Here we go. All right. Let's start off with the Dallas Cowboys. Oh, wait. They ain't do shit. So we don't need to start off with the Dallas Cowboys. Let's keep on scrolling. Let's just scroll on down. Okay, New York Giants. They went out and signed Devin Singletary yesterday. Jermaine, I might even going to try to pronounce that, an offensive tackle. 2-year, $14 million. So it looks like they got they starting offensive tackle. They needed some O-line help. John Runyon, formerly with the Packers. And then the big one for the Giants, they acquired Brian Burns for a 2024 second round and 5th round pick, and then gave him the bag. So they're trying to replenish their front seven after getting rid of Leonard Williams last year. They'll have Kayvon Thibodeau, who had a breakout season, Dexter Lawrence, and they paid the bag to Brian Burns, who's a quality, one of the top pass rushers in the league. So good for them. He's going to cost a lot. That's just how it is. That's the market for going rate for a pass rusher. And Micah is just smiling right now. Brian Burns is getting $150, $76 million guaranteed. So those are the moves that they make. Scroll on down to Philly. Philly did some interesting things. Started off by extending Landon Dickerson to a 4-year, $84 million extension, making him the highest paid guard. Got the bag. And a couple days ago, also extended Brandon Graham. And then they went out and obviously got Saquon Barkley. But for me, the big one was Bryce Huff. Bryce, I don't know why I completely dismissed Philly with a chance of getting him or anybody in free agency. That's just how he does. But Bryce Huff is one of the most underrated pass rushers in the free agent class. And he signed a 3-year, $51 million contract with them. And it would not shock me if Philly decides to trade one of their guys because, look, again, that's what they do. They're an aggressive franchise that whether it be trading for or trading away or signing, that's just what Ira Roseman does. Would not shock me if Reddick or Sweat, because we heard those guys were out there, are looked at as guys who get moved because they did sign Zach Bond, who is a 3-4 outside linebacker type. And they brought in, obviously, the new defensive coordinator, Vic Fangio, who runs a 3-4 and is probably looking for more guys that fit that mold. Bryce Huff does. I don't know. Reddick also does, which is shocking that he would want him. I know that Sweat does, though, and I like Sweat. But he feels more 4-3 hand in the dirt defensive end guy. So they could move on from them while bringing in guys that they want to fit the mold. Good signing for Huff. And then Julian Okwara. He used to play for the Lions. I think he got a brother in the league as well. So they went out and made some moves yesterday. Then Washington, we talked about the Austin Eckler deal. A couple days ago, they signed Zach Ertz, signed a couple offensive linemen, starters, Nick Allegretti and Tyler Biadasz. So they're trying to get their inside together. Signed Dorrance Armstrong, signed Brandon McManus, kicker. But the one that kind of, it didn't really pierce me, but it was like, yeah. Frankie Laveau. He was kind of my pipe dream all in. He signed a 3-year, $36 million deal to go play for Dan Quinn. So Dan Quinn gets an actual linebacker who can rush the passer a little bit. We talked about Frankie Laveau. I think this is a really good player. There's a lot of day one hate on teams partaking in day one. Look, let me bring this back real quick. There's a difference between being the New York Giants in 2000. I always bring the New York Giants up from 2016 because they spent like $200+ million in one offseason. But that's normal now. But at that time, 2016, that's a lot of money. There's a difference between being the New York Giants spending over $200 million in 2016 and then signing a guy like a Frankie Laveau who $10, $11 million per year over 2-3. That's not going crazy. There's a difference between signing who Brian Burns, that's going crazy. Kirk Cousins. Good Lord. Screw Todd France. If I'm Dak Prescott, I'm firing Todd France. I'm hiring Kirk Cousins' age. Kirk Cousins made about $400 million on 3 different teams. That's going crazy, but it's quarterback position. It happens. There's a difference between that and signing guys for $7, $8, $9 million. That's not bringing out the Brinks truck and dump it all. That's not going crazy, man. But see, the problem is, our people have told us they don't even want to go that far. They don't even want to go $7, $8, $9 million. They say, well, okay, why sign the $20 million guy? I agree, Steven. We don't got to sign the $20 million guy. But what about the $9, $10, $11 million guy? Aha. What if I can sign 5 $2 million guy? That's what he told us. He said, what if I could sign $3 million guys? What if I could sign 4 $1 million? What if I met J-Lo? You know what I mean? Like, what are we talking about? Frankie LaVue types are available to you, you know, where you're not going to break the bank. It's not going to hurt you, man. You know, to step outside your comfort zone. But that's not how we work. Let's go back to it. And that's the East. That's the rest of the East. We can just quickly go through the rest of the NFC. We talked about DeAndre Swift. Anything crazy here? No. Jalen Johnson, we discussed him the other day. Marcus Davenport goes back to New York. Glasgow got an extension or signed. Okay. So shouts out to Detroit. They lost a guard but replaced him. Traded for Carlton Davis yesterday. That was an interesting trade because Buccaneers put him out there on the market. Would you look at this here? Weren't we just talking about trades yesterday? Did they get a 3rd round pick back? So they acquired Carlton Davis along with the 6 in 2024 and 2025 in exchange. Okay, so okay. No. They sent out the 3rd. Okay. All right. Because I'm like, wait a minute now. Packers get Josh Jacobs. Low key, the other big one for the Packers was Xavier McKinney. Signed a $68 million deal, 25 guaranteed in year 1. Yo, these franchises know what they're doing. They ponying up all that money right now because they know that cap is going to increase. It already has tenfold, huge. So give them all the cash now, and then when the money goes up crazy, you know, we can deal with the little tiny dead money hit they decide to move on from because they're going to prorate this situation. So Vikings, oh my gosh, the Vikings are going to trade for Trey Lance, 3rd round pick to the Cowboys because that's what Rich Eisen said. So take your 3rd round pick and shove it. We're signing Sam Darnold. Hey, man, we couldn't even sell Trey Lance for a bag of goods. They signed Sam Darnold for $10 million. Hey, man. Sam Darnold, I mean, he's still... How? Why? I don't know. I like the scheme over there, but Sam Darnold. All right. What else they do here? Resign. Oh, Jonathan Grenard, the pass rusher from the Texans. Oh, they got Van Ginkel too. I didn't peep that one. I was gonna bring up Van, and they got Blake Cashman. Hey, the Vikings went a little crazy on defense. Grenard broke out under D'Amico Ryans, and now he's going to go to another quality defense coordinator, Andrew Van Ginkel. We talked about him, versatile guy, and Blake Cashman also broke out last week. That's a hell of a haul right there for Brian Flores. You know, I think he did some good things with that Vikings defense, given he didn't have a whole lot of pieces, especially in the back half of the season. That's a hell of a haul. Talked about Kirk Cousins signing with Atlanta. Honestly, I'm just going to follow all the entertainers down there this year just to see how they interact with Kirk. The Carolina Panthers spent some bread on the offensive line. They went crazy with Robert Hunt, signed a $100 million deal. Damian Lewis, $53 million. They said we need to protect our rookie quarterback. So while these guys may not pan out, they are making the effort to try to make things better for their first overall quarterback who they didn't have a good offensive line. Right? The Saints didn't do too much. They did re-up on Demario Davis, and they signed Tyrann Mathieu to a 2-year contract. So they did something with their own guys. So we'll give them that. The Bucs, we talked about Baker Mayfield getting a $100 million deal. Mike Evans a few weeks ago re-signed. Antoine Winfield got the tag. So they're still working out on that. And I think, the West. I don't give a damn. The Cardinals ain't do much of anything here. And the Rams. Kevin Dotson. They re-signed Kevin Dotson to a big deal, trying to shore up that offensive line, and went out and got Jonah Jackson from Detroit to a 3-year, $51 million deal. So y'all remember a couple years ago, oh my goodness, the Rams ain't gonna have no money, they ain't gonna have no picks. Oh my goodness, what they gonna do? They got money and picks now. And they said we're going to shore up this offensive line for our aging quarterback. Shouts out to the Rams. And they're finalizing a 3-year deal on Darlius Williams. NFC West, San Francisco 49ers go out and get, almost said Shaq Leonard. Leonard Floyd, who is a double-digit, you could just bank Leonard Floyd getting double-digit sacks. Signed a 2-year, $20 million deal, so he'll pair up with Nick Bosa on the other side. And they got another edge in YGM, who was drafted, I think, to the Panthers, signed to a 2-year, $18 million deal. So, you know, I respect what the Niners are doing. They said, okay, look, we need more edge help. We're going to get Randy. We're going to trade for old boy and see if that can help us. It helped them propel them to the Super Bowl, but they didn't close the Super Bowl. And they said, well, just because it didn't work means we're going to stop. So they went out and got Leonard Floyd and Gross Matos from the Panthers. So they made some moves. Noah Fant, Leonard Williams deals in Seattle. And now I think that is all for the NFC. We'll come back to the AFC side here in a second. We're not gonna go too crazy on the phones. This isn't gonna be a crazy long show. We'll get a couple calls, and then we'll take a look at what the AFC has been doing. Let's wrap to Mel first. What's good, Mel?
Good morning, King, to the morning King. What's going on,
sir?
my guy?
Not much. How are you?
Man, I'm good, brother. Man, my thing is this, bro. It's not that they don't do anything. It's that it's a prideful thing. It's not like, oh, we don't have any holes to fill, or, you know, it's not out of necessity. It's not like, okay, well, you know, there's only these guys available, and those are not positions that we really need, so we're not doing anything. It's like, no, we're not doing anything because it's just not what we do. And then when February or January rolls around and you're getting your ass bounced out in the first round again, now we're talking about players and we're talking about coaches, but we never circle back to what didn't take place during this time of the season. Shit. When you purposefully
speak for yourself.
Chose. I'm not us, not us,
Shit.
not us,
Yeah.
not us,
Yeah.
not us. I'm talking when we're doing those interviews, when we're standing up there on those podiums, or we got everybody circled around us, we talking players and coaches. Or even a lot of people on Twitter are talking players and coaches, or a lot of people on their Facebooks or whatever, they talking players and coaches. But we never circle back to this time of the year when we purposefully did nothing because we were too prideful to. Not because, oh, we don't have needs. This team has needs. This team has holes. And every hole cannot be filled in the draft. I'm sorry, draft guy.
Can't do it. Now,
every hole cannot be filled in the draft.
Now, on day one, I don't expect them to partake, right? And you can still get quality guys after it. I just worry that they'll even do that in day 2, 3, or 4. This is more so like next week. But I don't know how much they can sit on their hands given Azeez Al-Shire, which we'll get to on the other side of the AFC. You know, Frankie Lavuz, like these types are gone. Not all the running backs, but, you know, the running back market is drying up a little bit, although you're not filled by running back. Anyway, if you were looking for offensive line help, those guys have been paid. You know, some of these positions, like you said, of need, you can't sit on your hands too much if you're looking to grab a starter. And if you are, then you better make trades. So it's just that hamster wheel we're in with this team.
You need a left tackle. They were out there. You chose to do nothing. You needed centers. They're out there. You chose to do nothing. Say it again, guy.
No, I'm gonna go. I didn't even take a look at this. I was looking at the interiors. I didn't even know if I'm gonna look at the tackle market.
There was some tackle movement. Not nothing major, but there was some tackle movement. I think there might have been maybe 1 or 2 trades that were made for tackle.
Yeah, there's a couple signings, nothing crazy. But hey, Tyron Smith is still out there, right? David Bakhtiari got released, but he's ain't no better than Tyron Smith getting hurt. Andrews Pete's out. Yeah, it's not much on that market.
I wouldn't be surprised if what they're doing is saying, okay, Tyron, go test the market,
right,
see what the value is, and then come on back here for these peanuts. Come on back here for these peanuts. I wouldn't be surprised if that's what they're doing.
If he's not offended.
They want to play the familiarity card. Yeah.
You know, if he's not
they
offended.
probably want to play the familiarity card and offer him a little bit of money so you can stay home. That's my guess, but we'll see how things play out. As far as the running back position, last time we spoke, Sky, I said get your 27 jerseys out. they're gonna be going to get J.K. Dobbins. He's the ultimate.
He's the Hall of Fame Cowboy criteria, bro.
He's the Hall of Fame Cowboy criteria.
I can't find a better one.
As he continues to sit out there, and that number gets closer and closer to 1.5 million. Oh, buddy, he can't wait. He can't wait to.
Because didn't J.K. go to Ohio State?
Sure did.
They go
give him that 21.
We go. They gonna slap
21
right on J.K. Dobbins and be like, "Hey, but we got the new feed me." Like, you know, that's what they do. They sell them 21 Dobbins jerseys.
The press conference now. You know, we had a guy who came out of Ohio State once. That was pretty good here. We think we got another one. I can see it right now.
You damn right. That's exactly how they gonna sell it too. And Jerry with his little smug face. Hey, you know, we hit on another Ohio guy. Come on, man.
You can see it coming. But, man, like you say, bro, it's not that I expected it. I don't expect it. I know they're not going to do nothing. It still fucking burns because it's just like you're intentionally doing it. It is what it is. We'll see how the season goes. But just remember this time of the year, Cowboy Nation, when January rolls around and you don't get the results that you want because the regular season looks so good, but when January rolled around and you didn't get the results you want, remember this time of year when you're looking at, man, we couldn't get any rush besides Micah. Man, there was no one else to go to besides CD. Man, the safety play wasn't what it was supposed to be. Remember this time of year when the playoff season rolls around. I'm out, Sky, man. Always a pleasure talking to you, brother.
Salute. Appreciate you, brother Mel. Yeah. You know, it's funny because we joke about the Joneses being on a yacht, which they usually do around this time, but so is the head coach. It's vacation time for Coach Mike. And that tells you everything you need to know right there. Mike ain't worried about Mike ain't worried about free agency because he ain't got no power in it. Mike said, hey, man, do what you're going to do, man. I'll coach him up. Also, a little bit, again, I'm waiting. I'm just waiting patiently for the next couple pressers because I don't want to just base everything off of one thing. I need a couple more pressers, and I'm gonna read, the between the lines. I just feel like there's something off here, and yeah, man. So the Joneses are they're doing what they normally do, and we'll see what happens over the next few days or weeks. But you're right. We'll get to this point in time next year if Cowboys don't advance, and here's what's going to happen. They're going to probably sign a player or two or trade for a player or two. And it'll essentially what it'll do, because they're not re-signing their own, which they've done in the past. So now they're not even doing that. The Cowboys haven't, my bad, Carl Davis. They re-signed Carl Davis. But they have not yet re-signed their prominent guys, right? And you couldn't re-sign them all. And we talked about that. We did a whole list, 16 guys. We only really brought back, maybe 3? We talked about Gilly. We talked about Tyron. J. Lou was up there, right? We didn't really talk about bringing back a whole bunch of people. But if they're not even going to do that, bring back the guys that matter to bring back, well, when you then do address said position, all you're really doing is just getting back to where you were, right? And my whole gripe for years, even during this run of 12-5, is, okay, you want 12-5, we'll build on top of it. We get 12-5 and we kind of dig underneath the foundation, which sinks the crib, and then we're like, oh, the crib is sinking, so now we're putting more cement in the foundation, and it goes right back to where it was. We're not adding on top of this. We're not building no mansion. We still in a double wide. You know what I mean? So they're not really building on top of their success. They're using the success, to me, as a weapon to some of y'all. Because all I keep hearing is 12-5, 12, and that's great. I'd rather be 12-5 than 5-12. But can we build on top of it? That's all I ask. That's all I'm asking. Can we build on top of that? We have not done that. I'd argue. I'd have to think about it. Maybe they tried in 08, maybe. The whole Pac-Man thing and all that. Damn sure not 15. Damn sure not 17 and 18. 21 maybe. When they got Dan Quinn, they maybe. But it's hard, man. In 2020, they weren't good. So that means 2022, did they build on? No, they didn't. So that's my thing. Like, can you build on top of your success? It's one thing to have success, but can you build from that? Let's get one more. We'll go to the AFC and get a few more after that. Good morning, Marco.
What's up, Scott? How you doing, brother?
I'm all right.
Man, good. I had a question, Scott. Why did the NFL give up on the running back? It's kind of weird to me. Everybody thinks they're going to get Patrick Mahomes. You can't have Joe Pacheco probably doesn't, whatever his name, Pacheco.
Joe Pacheco's crazy.
Pacheco probably, I know. I went to school with a guy named Joe Pacheco. My
It
bad.
sounds like an
Pacheco,
Italian mob member, a capo. Isaiah Pacheco, but yeah.
Isaiah, that's his name. Yeah, Isaiah. But he's not going to do that anywhere else, man. Mahomes he might be a good decent running back, but Mahomes let people get away with a lot of stuff, and a lot of teams think they got Patrick Mahomes.
Well, because it's not just Pacheco. I mean, we can go down a whole list of guys that weren't drafted early in the draft or what have you. But comes to mind, Elijah Mitchell comes to mind, Mostert comes to mind, Jeff Wilson comes to mind, Philip Lindsay comes to mind. So it's the proof is in the pudding. You don't need the $100 million running back anymore. But I will say this: the running game is not devalued, but the high price running back it is, because I think obviously the passing league and then schemes are becoming more important than the actual offensive lines, because teams can't keep together great walls of Dallases anymore. So you have to be able to compensate for that, and to do it, that means you got to scheme it a little better.
Okay, well, Scott, this is what I want to propose to the NFL. The quarterback is overrated. Kirk Cousins, all his money, that's trash. Only person should be getting paid hundreds of millions is Patty. And the rest of these guys, you get you about 85 and guaranteed 4 years, get your money, get you about 20-something a year or something. Man, the rest of these guys, y'all don't need no $100-something million, bro. You're not that good. And another thing, Scott, I'm switching subjects on a whole other thing.
I would say that to the whole entire league. I mean, and I said this years ago, technically everybody's overpaid to play a sport of football, if you're looking at it that way. If you're just going to be that elementary about it, then everybody's overpaid. But at the end of the day, they are in a company that has a market set. So that's just that, and it is what it is, man. We can whine and cry about it. I personally think there probably should be a quarterback salary cap separate, so that if they're not going to change anything, then people will stop complaining about the quarterback money. But I don't think it stops you. I just think it's used as a crutch and an excuse. But I think people will stop complaining about it if it was separate from the cap. But they are technically playing for a company that has a market set, so that's just the way it is, man. But if that's the case, everybody's overpaid to play a kid's game.
I feel you. But, hey, Scott, I got another thing I wanted to bring to your attention. You know who Mozzie started to remind me of? I think his name is, what's his name, Tristan Hill? I think Mozzie is starting to remind me of Tristan Hill.
Why is that?
Same guy. I just feel like it just high round draft pick. Tristan, second round draft pick?
Second round draft pick was our first pick that year, yeah.
Yeah, that kind of hurt. Hey, it's kind of making me want to throw up a little bit, Scott, because, me and you talked last summer about instead of a tight end, we should have went on and win a guard. Now we got this problem where we need a center, guard, and Zach Martin, he looking like he on his leg. Hey, Martin looked like he on his last legs, too. He don't look too good.
He's still good guard, but he ain't the demigod guard. But he's obviously on the last leg of his career. So, yeah, you're going to need a right guard soon, too, yeah. Mozzie.
Hey, Scott, what?
Okay.
Yeah,
I don't know if you wanted me to talk about Mozzie or not, but Mozzie, I wouldn't go as far as Tristan, because I don't think Tristan ever wanted it. He was a head case, got in a doghouse, and then once he kind of matured, he even said it. Hey, man, I was a very immature young guy. Once he started to mature, he got a little better, but now obviously not good enough to stick around in Dallas, and he's been floating around the league. So I wouldn't go as far as Tristan yet, but I think the comparison you're making is high draft pick defensive tackle that did not pan out. Right now, yes, after one season, yeah, it's not looking good for Mozzie, but I don't think Mozzie's work ethic will be questioned, so I think he'll have a chance to bounce back quicker. And honestly, I think all these defensive alignment will be better players because of Jeff Skanina and Mike Zimmer. We'll just see how much better, because we need Mozzie to be, one of them ones.
And Scott, my last thing is, brother, we gotta draft a running back. Maybe the kid out of Florida State. I think we gotta get a running back for sure. We gotta get back to the run game.
100%.
100. Yeah, bro, we gotta get back to the run game because I know you know that I don't like Dak that much, but the only thing since we're gonna keep Dak Prescott, we gotta. I was hoping we would go for Barkley. I would have took Barkley, but I'll take a draft top high-rated running back out the draft. But Scott, listen to the rest of the show. Appreciate you for letting me give my opinions out, bro. Appreciate you. Be blessed, brother.
You too. Marco from Charlotte. Yeah, I mean, you have to draft a back, you know. And if they don't sign, what are we talking about, the guys that are left? Let's go. I mean, ain't many prominent, but let's see here. And look, if some of these guys have been signed as we're talking, remind you, I'm not on Twitter right now. All the news is probably still breaking. Joe Mixon's still out there. Derrick Henry, obviously. We talked about these two guys right here. I wouldn't necessarily say Cordell Patterson. I mean, he older, but yeah, Cordell Patterson, Alex Madison, Zeke is still out there. Clyde Edwards-Helaire, Foreman. Yeah, none of these dudes is AJ Dillon. None of these dudes are stopping you from drafting a guy. I mean, early-ish, unless it's maybe Derrick Henry or Joe. And even then, you know. But running back to me was already in the cards. Third round is where I said I start looking. Not saying I'm stamping it. It was where I would start looking because I would assume that they would take a back in free agency that's not going to cost you much that you can pair. We'll see. It's only day one. But if they don't sign a guy, they say they signed, I don't know, Marlon Mack. Say they signed Rico back. I like Jerick McKinnon, but I like him in a committee. Like, the Chiefs have it down pat, man. McKinnon is the third down receiving back. Pacheco is a hard runner. Clyde, he'll go in there, spell you 3-4 carries, and sometimes he ain't gonna get none. But they had it, in my opinion. Maybe if they get AJ or something like that. J.K. Dobbins, that would not shock me. Cam Akers would not shock me. That's kind of where they at with it. None of these dudes stop you from drafting a back potentially in the top 100. And given that we ain't out here signing better offensive linemen, I don't have confidence we're going to switch up the scheme. You could argue Dallas needs a better back, and I wouldn't fight you on that. Maybe if you go like Miami or San Fran or Detroit or Baltimore, Philly, hell, I would say Washington when they had old boy there running the system. Buffalo, Kansas City. I'm just trying to think of teams that have quality schemes that can kind of plug and play backs. You know, those that just reeled off a bunch of teams. Maybe they don't need Trey Benson, Derrick Henry, or whatever. But I wouldn't fight you if you said, well, the Cowboys need Derrick Henry or a Trey Benson type because the scheme sucks. The line, it sucked. And technically it sucks right now. Like, you don't, no offense to the young Bucks, but let's just be honest here. Your line is not as good as it was last year at this moment. And it wasn't that great. So, yeah, I wouldn't fight you to say you need a better back. Don't think they're going to go that route, though. All right, let's go to the AFC East real quick. We'll kind of fly through these. The Bills, this is a couple days or weeks ago, or days ago, my bad. Mitchell Trubisky and Deion Dawkins got signed to extensions. Or Trubisky got signed, Deion Dawkins got extended. They agreed to a 2-year extension on their guard. AJ Epineza, a guy we talked about, re-upped. I would love to see the details on that. He re-upped on a 2-year, $20 million deal. It was good for them last year. And Taylor Rapp got the bag after they released a couple of their safeties. Miami, who was sitting at like no money a couple days ago. So a lot of people are going to be like, you don't have no money, Scott. Stop. That's not how it works. They could easily have money. They have money. You don't even have to have the money right now. You got to have the money tomorrow by 4 o'clock. You don't have to have the money right now. But they can easily get it. But they signed Aaron Brewer, Jordan Brooks, Anthony Walker. And Jordan Brooks is one of those linebackers. Again, these are the type of deals where people be like, oh, day one. 3-year, $30 million for Jordan Brooks is not some earth-shattering deal. Jordan Brooks is a good linebacker for the Seattle Seahawks last year. But the Cowboys, that's way above what they want to pay. They haven't paid, more than, I think it was what? $9 million in guaranteed money since 2015, and that was to a one-year deal. Greg Hardy, you know, and the other two dudes you talk about was defensive tackles. The Patriots went out and got Antonio Gibson, re-up Kendrick Bourne, and Hunter Henry. Kyle Duggar got the transition tag, so, you know, they're a team in transition in general. The Jets got Tyrod Taylor to back up Aaron Rodgers. I like that. Good for them. And then re-upped on Greg Zuerlein. Isaiah Oliver signed a one-year deal. Nothing too crazy here. But John Simpson, who I'd imagine is a guy that's going to start for them, signed a 2-year, $18 million deal. In the North, the king of the North, the Baltimore Ravens re-upped on Nelson Aguilar, but their big ticket re-signing was Justin Madubuike. I mean, they could probably say we've won free agency just bringing back Madubuike in the all-pro defensive line. You got to bring back him. The Bengals got Zach Moss. They tagged T. Higgins, but T. Higgins requested a trade. We'll see what they do with that. The tag will pay him $21.8 million if they get trade partners. Wouldn't surprise me if the Bengals look that way. They also, I didn't realize this, Boyd is also a free agent. Interesting. Drew Sample got a 3-year, $10 million deal. One of like 5 tight ends those dudes roll out. And they re-signed Cody Ford. I remember Cody Ford. Offensive guard, and Geno Stone, safety, signed a 2-year deal. The Browns traded for Jerry Jeudy. That was their big addition. And then they re-signed Zadarius Smith on a 2-year, $23.5 million deal. Max of $25 million. Steelers, my bad. Their big one, they're signing Russell Wilson. Talked about that the other day. Houston, Houston, the big one here to me is Azeez Al-Shire, but Danico Autry got a 2-year, $20 million deal, $10 million guaranteed, probably being paid in year one. They got a lot of money, so that year one contract is really nothing to them. But the Azeez Al-Shire deal, man, D'Amico Ryan, man. That's a D'Amico Ryan signing right there. 3 years, $34 million. He goes back. He reunites with D'Amico. They lose Cashman. No big deal. They get Al-Shire, which I think is an upgrade. You know, and they still got some young defenders over there. And D'Amico's going to continue to build that. I think he's going to continue to build that defense up. And they bring in some vets. Al-Shire, Autry, veteran guys. And then they went out and signed Jeff Okudah. I mean, you want to talk about a flyer. That's a hell of a flyer. If it doesn't work out, whatever. It's 1 year, 4.2, former top 5 pick, top 10 pick. And again, we've seen D'Amico Ryans in Houston, in San Fran, be able to take guys that people are like, whatever, and get the best out of them. So the Colts re-upped on Michael Pittman, $46 million deal, and got Zaire Franklin signed to a $31 million deal, 3 years. Another linebacker. You see where it's happening? 3 years, 30. 3 years, 30. Right around that 10, 11 or so $million per year. Jacksonville, we talked about the Mac Jones trade. They signed Gabe Davis to a 3-year, $40 million deal and went out and got more offensive. So they re-signed Ezra Cleveland. They traded for him for a 6th-round pick last year. Must have been good for him. Mitch Morse, who got cut by the Bills, wasn't out there that long. Signed him right on up and then got Josh Allen on the tag there. Oh, they signed Darnell Savage. Get him out of NFC. Tennessee went out and got Cushenberry, one of the few centers on the market that was going to get paid and got paid. Obviously, TP. Kenneth Murray, sneaky one here too. And Cheeto went to Tennessee. So they got 2 former Cowboys, Kenneth Murray and Cushenberry. How the West was won won't be won by Denver. They're not really out here trying to do much of anything. And Kansas City re-upped on Chris Jones, Tranquil, and tagged L'Jarius Sneed. So they could literally bring back all of them. And they went out and got the punt guy who was cleared of those charges from last year. The Raiders went out and signed Gardner Minshew to a 2-year deal. Amir Abdullah still in the league? Man. All right. Andre James re-signed a 3-year, $24 million deal with them, and they got the big ticket guy in Christian Wilkins, 4 years, $110 million. $84 million guaranteed. Boy, Christian Wilkins on the same line as Max Crosby. That is going to be fun to watch. The Chargers went out and got the Gus Edwards. I mean, you want to talk about fitting the mold of a Harbaugh. He is a Harbaugh signing, but that's not probably why he signed. It's probably because of Greg Roman, who he played under Greg Roman. So he gets a 2-year cheap deal to go over there and be a complimentary back. And they signed Will Dissly to a 3-year deal and a safety that was already on the roster. And that is day one. And right now, I'll go to Twitter. I mean, I don't think anything is happening here for these here Cowboys. I didn't see much breaking. And it doesn't look like it. Not much is going on. So, where does that leave us? That leaves us with the Cowboys being the only damn team yesterday that did nothing. Wait, they talked. They talked to Zach Moss. That's what they did. Jeez, man. All you can do is just smile through the pain. All right, D-Shift and Reek, and we're going to wrap this thing up. What's up, D-Shift?
Hey, man, what's going on, Scott? And, man, like, legit, bro. Like, all you really asking for is, like you said, a $10, $11 million guy. Like, you could have had Bobby Wagner last year to shore up a linebacking deficiency to move on. Because if you're not going to be able to address everything in the draft, in which that's a flaw in itself, in which they tend to use the draft as a thing to address versus using free agency.
They use the draft to get over the hump, and I just think that is not the way to do it. You can build through the draft, but you cannot get over the hump relying on 20, 21, 22-year-olds. Can't do it.
Well, they get so far over the hump to where the car isn't going rolling down, but they still got to. You still gonna have to, like you said, just address the foundation and never build up. You know what I mean? So, yeah. I mean, they have those opportunities there. Like you said, you have those opportunities. Like, you're not asking for $100 million guys every year.
No.
You just asking for that 2-year, $25 million deal that if it's at linebacker and you need one, and then you can draft you a guy to where you're not putting all your hopes. Like, Mozzie Smith would look better if you would have had I can't use Wilkins as an example, but you're in a position where you never have things shored up because you're always addressing the big ticket items, the cornerbacks, the receivers.
And can I say this?
And then me.
Sorry, these shifts interrupt you. But they had an opportunity to get in front of a lot of these positions that they lost last year. Like, you could have sold me on, hey, look, we know Tyler Biadasz ain't going to be here next year, so we took our center in the 3rd round last year. Hey, we know Tyron. We don't plan on bringing back Tyron after this season. So when we freed up that money, we're going to go sign a guy to help us get over the hump or trade for a guy. Maybe that's what they did with Gilmore. But we're going to take Bergeron because he's going to step right in. And you say, well, you know what? We know Gilmore might not be back here. So let me go out here and go get Jalen Johnson, right? And I would have bought all of that. But you didn't even attempt that last year for a team that's all about draft development, future, right? They're always looking at the future. You can't keep selling me the future when all you're talking about is cap. You're not talking about building your future to be better. You're just kind of just talking about the future to remain status quo in what you're doing. They could have literally addressed not all, but half of these positions. Running back. They could have drafted a real running back in the 5th round or 4th round. And now okay, cool. We got a running back 2 or 1 that we could tandem. We don't got to stress about it. All of that was available to do that last year.
So that this year you can feel cool about taking your 3rd or 4th round pick and getting a receiver that if years from now you're not worried about Michael Gallup. You know, you're not overpaying Michael Gallup $14 million because you need him to stay. And then, I mean, kudos to them for letting go of Armstrong and Biadasz, because those are more guys that when you overpay and they can't live up to their potential, what you're doing, you're pushing their money back or you're releasing them, incurring dead money. Meanwhile, you could have been using all that money to pick up these $10, $15 million guys and then, boom, drafting your future. And then everything, it's all copacetic. But, I think they overpaid some of these guys just so they can keep at that status quo, honestly. But, man, good stuff, Scott, man. Just keep on pushing that narrative, bro.
Yeah, I appreciate you, Disha. Yeah, I think Gelkin said it. He used a word in his report or tweet. I guess nowadays a tweet is technically a report. That, man, it really explains them. He said, ultimately, the price extended past their comfort point. Well, you ever listen to all these motivational speakers? There's a lot of cliches, but cliches are cliches for a reason. And one of the things that you often hear is, hey, man, you got to get out your comfort zone if you want to be better. You have to sometimes be uncomfortable to get in a position to be comfortable, if that makes sense. I know I did. A lot of y'all wouldn't believe this right now. And I ain't nobody, but I'm here, so it is what it is. I used to be stage fright. Yeah. I used to be massively stage fright. Wasn't a shy guy. I just didn't like to speak in front of a bunch of people. And I remember one time, middle school, I think it was, you should run for class president. All right, cool. Let's do it. And then they like, all right, let's get the candidates in here. Okay, so you have to speak in front of everybody. I said, huh? I do what? You got to go in front of the No, sir. Not doing that. Take my name out. I'm gone. So I dropped straight out, you know? And I get to high school. We have, I think it was a speech class or something like that. Maybe I can't remember what it was. And, you know, I got in that class. I'm like, all right, got a little better. Got to college. I took journalism. So you had to kind of, you know, broadcast journalism because I wanted to do this. And obviously I got into the promotion game and that kind of just, I went outside my comfort zone. And next thing you know, this is exactly what I wanted to do, obviously. And, you know, here we are. Not saying I'm done, but I'm here. That's their comfort point. They're comfortable. And they can be comfortable. You know why they can be comfortable? Because nobody is checking them. Nobody's checking them. You know who's checking me without having to check me? My kids. You have kids, hey man, I can't be doing what I was doing, running around tripping. I got to set myself up for a better future for my boys, right? For my wife now, right? Who's checking them? They're not afraid to be fired because they can't get fired. So they are comfortable and they're going to remain comfortable. I don't give a damn about, you know, this whole thing about, well, I get it. Yeah, we could all not go boycott and lose money. That's never happening though, right? That is never, ever, ever going to happen. So you just got to hope like hell they catch lightning in a bottle. Because they've proven their way does not work. And I will, all you old heads that want to talk about the 90s and all that, that wasn't Jerry Jones' way. That was Jimmy's way. Because I love one of the things that Toxic Tom says. Jimmy was a shit filter, not a shit funnel. We don't have a shit filter anymore. Reek, what's up, man?
Hey, what's going on?
Not much, bro.
What's going on, Sky?
What's up with you?
Well, basically, man, I look at it like this, man. I'm just getting tired of the Joneses just sticking their chest out like they know what they doing, man. It's like, bro, you got bounced in the first round of the playoffs. Like, you should have the most sense of urgency than anybody.
They don't
Especially
need
trying
to
build this team back.
Sense of urgency requires you being uncomfortable. They're comfortable.
Yeah, but see, my thing is like this too. Is like, I can understand Jerry Jones being comfortable because he has his skins on the wall. Steven doesn't have any skins on the wall, so I don't understand why he's so damn comfortable. You know what I mean? Other than
how do you not understand that? He's the son of Jerry and the right-hand man, and he's going to inherit all of this. What do you mean?
Yeah, I understand that part, but at the same time, to us looking at him, we like, you're not proven. Your dad is proven. He don't did what he had to do. It's your time. So quit walking around here like you was the one putting these teams together back in the day. You not that dude. Your dad's that dude.
But
you
we're
come
talking
in
about
here
being comfortable. He
penny
don't care
pinching.
about what Reek and Sky think about him. We talk about being comfortable. Why wouldn't the heir of an empire be comfortable? He's not getting fired. His dad's not firing him. And then you see, and here's the other issue. The overlying problem is, you said it, Jerry's comfortable. If Jerry's comfortable, why would he fire his son? You need Jerry to be uncomfortable so he can fire his son, which ain't gonna happen. But he can fire the guy that's the real GM. You know what I'm saying? I'm not comfortable with this situation. You get up out of here. I'm gonna bring in another GM to try to get us over this thing. But that's not the hierarchy here. This is the only franchise ran this way.
Yeah, I know, man, and it's sad because we the ones suffering throughout the whole process. Everybody else that's been competitive, that's trying to stay competitive, they're trying to stay in their window, but our window was closing. Our players are getting older, and at the same time, we letting these players age out. Some of our best players age out, and then we're just releasing them. We're not trying to get nothing for them a couple of years ahead of time, or trying to make moves, shaking moves. Like it just doesn't. I just don't understand that process.
I'm sorry, Reek. Hey, ESPN got to be trolling me. Yo, ESPN got to be trolling me. First of all, how dare you, ESPN? ESPN just sent me an alert, and I saw that in the chat, but I didn't think this was ESPN alert worthy. Breaking news. The Cowboys are re-signing long snapper Trent Sieg. Oh, y'all trolling. Yo, ESPN is now a part of the troll session here. They've always been, but I mean the free agency part. The hell is you sending me a notification for the Cowboys re-signing a long snapper? Go to hell, ESPN.
Hey, man, I'm going to put it to you like this, man. If this team doesn't do nothing this year, man, hey, man, we need to start putting Stephen Jones' face on T-shirts and put a clown nose on his face. You know what I mean? Because he's a clown, man, because you're not trying to get this team over the hump, and we're not that far away. We just got to make some real good moves, and we can be right back in this thing, trying to get over the hump and go somewhere, man. But it's like they're going to do it their way, and they just want us to sit back and take it. So what can we do?
We need help from the people that
just do it all.
We need help from the people that can quite literally put the pressure on them in regards to like the media that have the access. But we all know the situation there. Do I still have it? Do I still have my subjects? I don't have it in there, but we know the situation. Yeah, I do. Here we go.
Subjects.
And I say that because, for instance, over there up on I-95, if you're in PA, they come at their players to their face, the front office, the staff, the coaches, whatever. And is it Jeff Lurie? He make a move. You know, I'm not saying going to listen to everything the fans say or the media says, but the media they got some power, man. But let's be real. You got to walk on eggshells around here. That's just the way it is. And if you can criticize, they gonna criticize, but to their face, they'll write a little article that might be mildly criticizing them, but flat out, what's the dude? Was it Tim McMahon who used to cover the Cowboys? Flat out asked Jerry a long time ago, "Hey Jerry, it's been about 15 years, and I'm paraphrasing here, and you ain't done shit." He said, "Jerry, if there was another general manager, would you have fired him by now?" Jerry said, "Well, yeah, I would." Next thing you know, Tim McMahon ain't running around here no more. So, where he at?
Yeah, I feel you. Yeah, billionaire gonna do what he want to do anyway. So it's like, what are you talking about?
He pressed that man.
Right.
He pressed that man. He told that man, "You should fire yourself," without saying it. And Jerry said, "Shit, I'll be damned if you're gonna be coming up in my press conferences doing that."
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, all we can do is sit back and hope and see what they're gonna do, man. Because it's like we already know they're gonna make some low key signings, but it's nothing. when are we gonna get players that we're excited about, that we know that we can compete?
I
with
think
the
that
best
is,
teams?
that is fair. That is so fair. That's so fair, Reek. Like, look, I think it was Tuck who said this. Like, look, man, I get it. You know, I'm not asking to sign all these $100 million. I'm not asking to just super overpay like that. But it as a fan, it kind of is exciting when you do sign a new player, even if the player costs a little bit of money. It's like, hey, man, when you sign a quality guy, it's exciting as a fan. You're right. When is the last time the Cowboys have really been fired up for a signing? It's been a long time.
Brandon Carr. But we ain't gonna talk about that.
I personally think the Brandon Carr deal was fine. I think he had a lot of success. Then they changed the scheme and he became a whipping boy. But he had 6 picks the first 2 years when he was here under a scheme that worked for him, and then they switched it. But yeah.
Yeah. But all right, Sky, man. Good talking to you, bro. I'll holler at you a little later, man. Sit back and listen, man.
Yes, sir.
All right, peace.
Appreciate you, Rick. Hey, yo. Did y'all get that notification, man? The audacity. Got the alarm next to it. NFL free agency alert. That is they are 100% trolling. 100%. Is Foots gonna call in? Is Foots supposed to be calling in? Did I miss something here? Let me scroll up. Get a couple of these super chats in. I don't see Foots up in here. If he was supposed to call in, I'll open it back up for Foots. All right, where we at? 12. All right, got a couple of them rolling up through here.
Super chat.
Dro knows. Appreciate you, Dro. He dropped 2 and said how much he hate me costs. Shouts out to the XFL. It's the US. What is it now? UFL. They combine UFL. John Phelps.
Super chat.
He dropped 5 and said, Is Jimmy Johnson going to be involved with free agent signings or the draft? Sorry. How much of a voice does he really have in the organization? I think Cowboy fans got played with that. Yeah. I'm back in the circles. Come on, y'all. Jimmy Johnson, 80 years old, retired in a yacht. You think he about to be in the day-to-day operations during free agency or the draft or any of that? No. No.
Super chat.
James Carr with the $2 super chat. He said, this team is doomed till Steven and Jerry are gone. We are rooting for Charlotte to take over 100%. And then B Bird dropped 5.
Super chat.
And said, is the Joneses annual spring break yacht? And I did see your picture. Y'all want to see this real quick? Spring break yacht cruise going on now. Has anyone seen the Joneses? This is a serious question. So I think it is, but then there's this picture floating around of their actual destination, and I think it's a joke. But I think they normally do go on vacation. I know this though. Mike McCarthy is on vacation. I know that. Let me bring this up. Shouts out to you, B Bird, for this. You know what? I'm not going to do that. It's a picture of their family, and Tony Romo was there. There's a whole underlying thing with Tony and Dak and that whole situation. But Tony Romo is in on their little family vacation yacht thingy, and I'm pretty sure they are. And if they aren't, they're not worried about what's going on in free agency. Not this week. But they talked to Zach Moss, though, y'all. They talked to Zach Moss. Yeah, see, Knicks, Jimmy 80 years old. You think he got time to fight with Steven and Jerry if Jerry's opposed to something? He don't got that in him. Let that man rest, retire, and go enjoy his life. McCarthy said, F y'all figure it out. McCarthy, no, he free agency? Oh, yeah, that's my time to go. I mean, he told us that when he got hired. I think they asked him very early, like, hey, you got your hands? Hey, man, I just coach who they get. He was kind of like that in Green Bay. Hence why they hire these types that don't really, hey, man, do your thing. I'm just going to coach and hope for the best. Hope for the best. We ain't gonna sign nobody to week 3, Twan. If I wanted to put a little positivity on this thing, because I think you're right, probably not gonna sign nobody till next week or the following. Well, I guess Trent Seed counts. If they talked to Zach Moss's people, maybe they're talking to others, and maybe something happens at the end of the week. I ain't banking on it. But appreciate y'all joining me today. Look, decided to do this show today. I'm like, man, I feel bad for Cowboys Nation that if you're coming here for a bunch of Cowboys updates, there's just not much. So, we went around the league, and hopefully that sufficed. But we'll see what happens tomorrow. We'll see what happens today. That may dictate what happens tomorrow. I'm just being honest. Yeah, that's true. Ain't shit positive about complacency. That's for damn sure. Damn sure, man. Keep your ears and eyes open later for the Vosh Lombardi live show. If we are live today, I think we'll probably be talking about draft. Tuesday, we usually do mock stuff. I know we're in the midst of free agency, but if something does pop off, then we'll probably talk about that. Just keep your eyes and ears open, though. Twitter, the community, all that. Mo will be back on later today, likely talking about day 2 of free agency, and potentially I'll be back tomorrow talking about it. We'll see what happens today, because one thing I don't want to do is just be on here and give you nothing. I try to give you everything I got. Ain't that all I have? I try to give everything I got, but man, I mean, if nothing is happening, quite literally nothing is happening, I don't want to sit here and do that to y'all. So we'll see what happens today, and that'll dictate what happens tomorrow. All right? No problem, Big Max. No problem. Storming the star. I'm gonna just leave that there. I'm gonna press this button. Y'all want a January 6th star? Let me get up out of here, man.
Push the goddamn button. Push the goddamn button.
Appreciate you, y'all. Boy, we in some time. Hey, brother L. We need a win, bro. We do not do that here. Man, we out here, lay y'all.